Hi, it's Mia. This is Monday check-in, January 14th. So hopefully I paid my credit card bill in full. It's all about the math. And I just got my lemonade. I finally emptied the dishwasher. I don't know if it's the first. Oh, they're getting farm. I don't know if it's the first or second time since I put in a maintenance request that the dishwasher was broken. I think it was the first time I washed a whole load. That was like a week or two ago. I'm just now emptying it out. And then excuse me. Before that, I cleaned out the dishwasher and emptied the water with a rag or something, like just by squeezing it into the sink. And prior to that, I came downstairs one day and there was this big wad of, so disgusting. It was like crystallized. It was almost like turkey grease, like from Thanksgiving turkey. I had dishes in the sink and I had this coating this high up in the sink. Oh, it's a white porcelain. It's really bad. You can see all the black in there. It's just worn down really badly. It needs to be replaced. Like, if that thing costs $40, these losers need to freaking, when everyone moves out, they're going to replace theirs. Why should we be paying high rent and have this crap in our house? And because it's so scratched up, it gets full of mold, no matter how clean and dry you do it. So I'm scared to, do the Fly Lady drying every night because of the mold. But I decided, I bought some new rags. My daughter had one. I had some rags. They sell rags at the Goodwill. I don't want to buy some else. I might buy some rags, though, if they have a small bag, and just do, nasty stuff. Because we don't have... My towels are I'm OCD. I had some old towels that we got from camp, and I ended up probably giving them away. One of them, I transported a chicken in a crock pot, and it spilled all over in the car. Which is good I wrapped it, and it was I'm so picky, I had to cut the good part, the dry part off, and wash that, and give it to the animals. The animals have their bedding. Went to church camp. The kids went to church camp, and a whole bunch of kids left their towels, and somebody gave them all to me. We got a lot of stuff that way. Okay, where is the farm? Okay, 1 hour, okay. I didn't know you could do farm with herbs. I thought it had to be actual farm, but as a naturopath, it doesn't matter. A medication to me is a medication, and contraindications and adverse effects are not. Yeah, that drug herb interactions would be a good way to do farm. I gotta register for this event. Register. It's so bad right now. Okay, forget that negative talk. I am on a dating experiment, and so rushed up. Okay, I gotta put the 23rd in my calendar. I went what is your modality? Indeed. Do you work in a retail store? No. Well, I do. Oh, retail. I'm gonna say, do I use the herb? I used the herbs the other day. I'm so germophobic. I gotta get medication. Alright, submit, and then I just have to put the date and time. So it should be 1 o'clock Eastern, because they do theirs Eastern. 1 o'clock Pacific, January 23rd. Let me put that on my calendar. I went several months making videos on online dating. Okay, wait. I'll say Gaia, 1 hour, farm. I don't like when autocorrect does stuff like that. Okay, I'll just say 1 p.m. Excuse me. And then let me put a reminder for the day before and like 15 minutes. Well, I'm going to do 3. Let's do 3 reminders. 1 an hour before in case I'm not at home, and 1 the day before. It should be like that. So here's my dilemma. I was online dating for I made the Match.com account in the end of September, and that's the month I might have had 2-day weekends, 3-day weekends, something like that, and some of them were not on purpose. And I had the Match.com, and then I realized, because I heard it was the oldest, so I was thinking that it was legit, and there was the fee that you had to pay to do messages, so it's worthless to me. So I signed up for OkCupid, and I got a whole bunch of messages. And I guess the algorithm, when you're new, you get pushed to the top, and then when you're old, you don't really get many views. And so I got pushed to the top, and a whole bunch of creepy guys liked me, and I have been known to not be attractive and likable. So it's just like racism and oppression and like people who come from abuse and people who have been sexually assaulted and assaulted. It's like I have this empathy, like I'm not going to judge you on your looks. Like, of course you want to be like, I want to choose the most attractive person, or there's a few, like 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20, maybe 1 out of 50 pics I see that makes my heart like throb like crazy. And it's all the picture, and those ones are weird. And so I'd read what they're interested in, see if they sound okay, and then I'll, because I was doing it like desktop style, I wasn't doing for OkCupid like the app style where it's kind of like Tinder. So I met a few people just through the texting or the messaging, and then I text with a few people, and I was getting unsolicited pictures, and I was getting like one guy, he's like, oh, sorry, sends me unsolicited. So I went outside to take a picture of myself, and it was like, I was really angry because I didn't like this guy. And all they kept saying, like, if I said something about my day, it's like, oh, well, at least you look good doing it. Oh, you look good. Like, there's no sustenance there. I don't need to spend, let's say, a week talking to 10 to 15 individuals and get everybody share their entire life story and your mental health state. And like, no, like we don't like, but like something intelligent, intelligible, meaningful. And I fall back on, and people say this about narcissism, like, oh, if you talk to your narcissistic relatives, like, just put the relation or put the conversation back to the weather. Like, that seems so lame, but I'm like, dude, these are my fake glasses, by the way. I'm gonna wear them right now and make myself look different. So I was like, oh, all you get is a glare now. Doesn't seem like a good idea. So I'm just like, oh my god. Like, I could be flattered, but I was grossed out. And there's one guy who was texting me at all hours in the morning, and I was just like getting like, hey, gorgeous, hey, my, fine blank black woman, and all this stuff about my race, like this comes to fetish, and I was like, I was gonna go meet that guy because the other guys would be like, oh yeah, let's make plans, and they no show, or I would be like dressed and ready to go, sitting here waiting for them to say that they're leaving their house, so I knew when to meet them at a coffee shop. And then they would just be like, oh, I went and did something else. It's going to be a few minutes. And one guy was like hours later. I'm like, you're still doing something else? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, are you going to hang out or what? He goes, oh, I didn't think you were serious. You've been begging me for over 3 weeks to hang out, and I finally have a day off, which I should. Day off for me means I'm working from home. I should be sitting around working from home, not sitting here crying to my higher power about how am I going to go out with somebody. And these people, these younger people, were trying to invite themselves to come over to my house and sleep in my bed, and I'm just like, oh, heck no. I don't know you. Like, first of all, meet in a public place. Second of all, I did not invite you to my house. So, unless you're living with your parents, or you have a girlfriend or a wife, and you're just trying to sneak out, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes I got that gigolo vibe from people, and I was like, I'm sitting in that house with thin walls, with 2 kids that don't like visitors, thinking that some dude is going to come up in my house and be making a whole bunch of noise and assaulting me in my room. No, oh heck no. Especially if I don't know them. I went through, and so I did finish my planner. Not my planner. I gotta sign up for the other course. I'll just do it now. I did like my journal that I've had. Actually, I've had that for quite a while. I would journal more the more that I worked, and so the less that I worked at my weekend job, the less writing that I would do. So this one took a long time to fill up. I believe, I'm pretty sure, I know I wrote in my planner the same thing for the experiment. So I have, okay, February 5th. Let me just sign up for this one. Marigold. Oh, I should get some of that. I have some that are covered. I have the one that's not like poofy. It's not like pom-poms. It's like the straight one. C. What is the other word for marigold? Whatever. All my mind sees is the picture of it. And I'm going to get some of that and put it in my tea today. I made some freaking Melissa, like, big time. So, I had an instance where 2016, when I was all liberated, something happened and I was poverty stricken. I didn't have money. I had my job for like a year. I was broke and I didn't have money to buy condoms. And I ended up making out with this guy, and he didn't live terribly far from 7-Eleven. I could have been like, whoa, let's stop and go to 7-Eleven and buy some protection and throw down some cash for him to get some cigarettes, right? And neither of us had money, and it was scary. And I went to STD clinic, and there was one test I was supposed to go back for, and I didn't. They're like, oh, this is just standard. We wait. It wasn't HIV. It was something. I don't know if it was syphilis. And I was embarrassed because I had like, I had volunteered at this clinic, not volunteered. I had done shadowing or preceptorship hours. It was only 5 weeks, but it was at least 4 hours a week. It was like nonstop. You saw one patient after another, and it was really good. And I had ended up in here saying, "Oh my God, I'm a doctor. I shadowed here. Why wasn't I smart?" And the lady was so sweet, and I didn't say I was a doctor. I was like, I should have known better. I think she thought that, she goes, oh, are you a naturopath? And I was like, yeah, how do you know? She goes, so they were on Epic. They could see all my old prescriptions, which were all herbs. And So it wasn't even like, are you in naturopathy? She asked if I was a doctor. I was like, yeah, I should have known better. She's like, oh, stuff happens. And I promised myself that I would carry. My friend DC gave me some condoms, and I went to that clinic, and if they had cameras, I swear, I was going, every room they put me in, I was grabbing condoms, and I have no idea where they are, so I need to find them. Because, let's rewind, as a Christian, I was like, our church was trying to be like, don't even hold hands with your boyfriend or guy if you're a woman. Like, they freaked us the heck out, and of course, they were married, so when the pastor's wife went down to the nursery once a month, we would talk about their sex life, and I was like, really? Like, you know that's being recorded, and your wife could listen to that later. But it was every time she wasn't in the room, he would talk the conversation about their sex life, and I thought it was kind of funny. I remember stuff. Like, could you imagine what the teenagers were probably thinking? If they were paying attention, that's when kids were playing on cell phones and hitting each other back the head with a piece of paper. I mean, they didn't go, well, I don't know how many details. Anyway, shh. It wasn't that explicit. But I noticed that pattern. So I felt ashamed, and I was searching for a Christian boyfriend. And I like white guys. And I wanted to abstain from sex until marriage, but then I was torn between what's his name? Paul talking about how he hates divorce and how God hates divorce, but you can get divorced because of adultery, but then you're to sin, you're an adulterer yourself if you get remarried unless your husband dies. And I always try to justify, like, my husband, it was dead, that marriage was dead before it even started. So I'm at this point right now where I was trying to justify what was going on. Biblically, including, Paul has a lot of opinions. He says, if you're about to be married, break up with and it's usually talking to men, break up with her. Stay single like him. I don't think that he necessarily was fully single. He may have left his old life and left his partner or something, or I don't know. But there's a lot of New Testament, Acts, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, or the Gospel, past the Gospels, Acts, the Corinthians 1 and 2, I think Ephesians, right? Ephesians. When Paul was in jail writing letters to the churches. And what the heck did he go to jail for? Anyways, is that for the believer in Christ? But there's a lot of opinions, but he'll say what God says. And he'll say what he thinks. And if you look at the footnotes, you can go back. Most of the New Testament is reinforcing the Old Testament. And there's a few things in the Old Testament that aren't reinforced in the New Testament. So anyone that argues, Jews, Catholics, Methodists, Baptists, they argue about, we don't believe your religion is all messed up. But if you use the Bible, I don't know about Seventh-day Adventists, but if you, like Latter-day Saints, or not Seventh-day, I don't know much about Seventh-day Adventists, by the way. The Church of Latter-day Saints, that extra Bible thing, I don't know. I had a copy, and it got moldy in the back of my car, I threw it out, so I didn't even read it, and it kind of creeped me out, so we're going to read it anyway. I have a real-time God, and I asked my higher power to guide me. And in the Old Testament, men of God had like harems. They had multiple wives. In the Old Testament, David, who wrote the Psalms, was one of God's favorites. And he had a whole bunch of sexual relations with a whole bunch of women. And wives and all this crap. I'm not trying to say, this is a masculine, male-dominated world. And I feel like women in power are like sexy. So you're in that position. No, I'm not, like, it doesn't even matter what your body height is. They're usually really sexy. They're usually bleach blonde. I mean, sexy in the context of what a man thinks. I think other things are sexy about men and women that aren't just your hair color or even your body type. That's a different story. I hate that, those old books. People thought it was rude to talk about exotic. Like people would see Filipinos or like, oh, exotic. There's that movie. I love you a long time. Um, um, it's like, what was that movie, anyways? I love you a long time. So she wouldn't have sex. She was scared to have sex with a black guy because she was scared she would get broken by his penis size. I don't remember what the name of that movie is. It's one of the ones I'd watch over and over again too. Anyways, love you a long time. I during prayer meditation, I was still going to church, the old church. And like I said, I tried to find new churches, and I just got dissed big time. There's so much racism and hatred and judgment, and single moms coming in trying to find help. So, like, they wouldn't even let me put my kids in childcare. These stupid places that sit and make my kids be quiet. Like, there's no other kids in here. I know they have a childcare. Like, they're not helping me. I don't have a ring on my finger. They don't know I could have been widowed. I could have been not saying that it's okay. I could have been haven't had a husband who died. I could have been married to for 20 years who died in the Middle East in a war, or died as a police officer or something. You never know, like a service person. You don't know. You can't just judge a book by cover. Unfortunately, I left to save my life, and fortunately and unfortunately. So right now, I'm just like. During prayer meditation, there's two things that came up. Okay, this is not just two things. This was two relationship things. I forgot the first one already. Oh yeah. One was hearing from God that I needed to find my mate. And this was probably 10 years ago, maybe less than 10 years ago, but a long time ago. And that the work of heaven that I was doing is not enough for my plan. And that God needed to bring me together with a guy so that we can exponentially do the work of heaven on earth before death, before physical body death, and not spiritual death. But again, I keep talking about iron sharpens iron, which is in Proverbs, and the second one was me. So that was what I heard. I told my old friend, Charlene, she laughed, because we used to Bible study, she laughed at me, or she like kind of snorted. I don't know, she had been one of those people that was attractive and fun, petite and thin, and she was the type that there's some women I know that as soon as they get divorced, they're already engaged. Like they never stay married to the same person, but they're always married. They're always in a relationship, like a very long-term relationship. Might not be that long-term, but they're in a, like, they're not ever single. They're never single. They're very rarely single, let's put it that way. And it's like, excuse me. The second thing was, well, the old pastors had talked about praying for your children's future spouse. this person, and almost everyone in that church was married. Some of those people broke up these guys' marriages and married a guy. Seduced. Like, that just freaks me the heck out. There's some weird stuff that happened in there. They still, when you first come in, you see a married couple with a bunch of kids in a car or SUV. But you find out the backstory, and they're not just, oh, we fell in love when we were 19 and we got married and we were virgins, and oh my god, there's like a spider on the wall. Dang it. And I found myself praying one day. I did it more than once. Dear God, I pray for my future partner. I don't know if I use the words partner, but I like to be politically correct sometimes. And I was like, I said, unless I'm a cradle robber, and if I was going to be a cradle robber, I didn't know the term cougar back then. This guy would be alive. If he's not, then protect his parents. Because you never know. Like I said, some of the Bible stories get real raunchy and juicy if you read those versus anything that I've ever seen on any soap opera or anything. There's some weird stories in the Old Testament about sex and pregnancy and all this individual. A lot of it's an individual thing, and it helps keep the prophecy. Alive. It helps that the prophecy comes true about these things, like Ruth and Naomi's story, like that. Like she wastes this guy's junk and she gets in bed with him. After her mother-in-law tells her to get all nice and clean and perfumed and sexy, wear your best clothes. Chicka baby. I'm sure Ruth or Naomi could have got a man too. She was probably beautiful. She seemed beautiful inside and out. She called herself bitter, I know, so I don't know. I've called myself bitter, I'm not gonna lie. Guys, I find myself being bitter. So, oh shoot, I was gonna make this 15 minutes. I feel like I prayed for, or I felt like praying for somebody, please keep him safe, please keep his family safe, blah, 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 blah. It's like in AA or NA, more in NA, somebody's bothering you, somebody's messing with you, or you hate somebody, pray for them. Pray for that they get everything that you want in life. Health, happiness, prosperity, love, good job. Get rid of disease, health, satisfaction, relationships. Pray for that person you strongly dislike, that they get everything that they want and that they are blessed. And you do that every day for like at least 21 days. But as long as you can. It's hard to remember sometimes. Because the time is like time. Human, like time with God is like, you do it when God tells you. Like, taps you on the shoulders, let's do it right now. So I pray for this person that's unknown. And I met all these people just to the internet, and it seemed several guys were like, oh, you seem interesting, I like to hang out with interesting people, so, or hey, we could be friends. So it was already like, I'm not interested in you romantically, but what you're talking about is interesting. So they didn't know what they were looking for. They just got divorced. I had to get that spider out of here. So I ended up thinking that I would go out with these guys. And they all flaked out, disappeared, blah, blah, blah. Some had baby mama drama. I'm like, I don't care. You're divorced. You need to stand up and grow a pair and freaking go out and don't break my date. And it's really hard online. It's like, you want to be like 3 strikes you're out, but I should probably have been 1 strike you're out on some of these people, especially they're rude, disrespectful, and they don't. It's a disposable society. They don't care about little me. They have thousands and thousands of women online that they can hook up with or meet up with or have a relationship with. They have thousands upon thousands. And it's fairly cheap to meet these people. It's fairly free internet and or phone apps. You could go to the freaking library if you wanted for free and not even have internet and do OkCupid through the desktop. I feel like I need a tissue. And so I met up with the guy from Morocco, and I showed a text to somebody. I was asking him why he was being so rude to me, and I didn't use the word rude, and why he was certain things he was doing. And I showed my friend some of this dialogue, and she goes, "That sounds like microaggression to me." I was like, God, why does she have to use these technical terms? I'm like, crap. She sees something just from 10 seconds of looking at a few messages. And she's like, do you want to meet him? I'm like, no. And she goes, why are you don't have, like, people kept saying, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And so I ended up having this guy. We were supposed to meet on Friday, and I was working Thursday night. And this guy's like, I want to hear your voice. Please call. Like, he kept trying to beg me to call. He kept trying to beg me for pictures and all this crap. And I was just like, shut the F up. Like, in my mind, I'm just like, I don't care. That is my pet peeve. And he's like, you don't want to talk to me. I want to talk to you. I'm like, you asked me to call once, and I was at work. Heck no. And I'm going to get home at like 2 a.m. and I'm going to bed. I'm not talking to you. And so this guy's like, I wanted to talk to you before we meet tomorrow. And I'm like, fine, I'll go outside, but I'm here and I'll get on the phone for like 2 minutes and get off. And so I, again, did something that I didn't want to do. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to, that's like, we were meeting the next day. It wasn't like somebody's jumping on a Sahara excursion the next 3 months, and that you're not going to be able to talk to him or communicate. It's not like someone that you actually like is going to be gone. It's like you're going to be seeing them in less than 24 hours. So I met up with this person, and he criticized me to say my kids needed to go out and get their own jobs and get their own places to live, and that I needed to spend all my time with him, and that I didn't need to work, and that he would take care of me and all that stuff. But it was more fighting words when you start talking about my kids, and there was nothing. I just sat there the whole time like, there was nothing about, what do you like to do? What's your hobby? What was it like when you grew up? Do you have any pets? Like, stupid stuff. It wasn't anything like that. And it was like, you need to drink coffee. I'm drinking coffee. You need to drink coffee. You need to go to Chinese. I don't care. I was like, how many times I told you I'm a raw foodist? I don't eat Chinese. Like, we need to go to Chinese now. Fine. You eat salad? Come to my house now. And I'll make you salad. So somebody I said what this guy said. Oh, that guy said he wants to take care of you. It's like, yeah, he's trying to kill me probably. But they're like, oh, that guy's like a sugar daddy. Like, no. He was a control freak. When I went home, all I could feel was the word narcissist going through my mind. Narcissist. And I freaked out about that. And I blocked him. No, he didn't. I was thinking if this guy really liked me, that he would say that evening, oh, it was nice. At least it was nice meeting you. Let's talk soon. Have a good night. Like, this small talk. Just keep, like, it was nice meeting you. Like, it wasn't sucky meeting me. And so he didn't text me, and the next day he said hi. It was either the next day or maybe even the next day after that. And I wanted to throw up. And I blocked him from phone and from the website. And I felt rude. Because, again, I want to treat others like they want to be treated. I just had this vibe. Like, he was better looking in person. But I couldn't see his hair. I had this vibe that he talked about his ex-spouse, that he was trying to sit her down and tell her what to do with her life, and that she had cheated on him and got all addicted with him. And those 2-3 hours, like 2 hours I was with this guy, I'm like, I could see I could see how maybe you drove somebody to addiction and cheating. Like I was really scared. I didn't I was like really scared. It may not have anything to do with him, why she did all that stuff, but just that couple hours, it's like, I can't deal with it. I didn't feel good about myself. And I told someone, daggone it, I'm going out with this guy, out of, desperation that I want to meet somebody in real life. And everyone else is flaking out on me. And I was impatient because you hear all these people talking about, oh, I met my spouse within 30 minutes of being on Tinder. I met my spouse within 3 days of being on Tinder, and blah, 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 blah. And so I had somebody on Tinder. I had somebody on OkCupid. I got the Text Now app, but I gave him my real number. I might not have had it by then. And he says, oh, but hey, how's it going? He wasn't even nice. He just said, oh, I recognize you from Tinder. You look familiar. Are you on Tinder? I said, no. And then, like, he's like, oh, do you want to go out for tea or something later? I was like, yeah, maybe. And then I get a text, oh, I just sent you a text. Did you get it? Invite to Tinder. If you use that link, I get points. And I was like, no, I didn't get any freaking link. And he goes, okay, let me send it again. And he goes, still no? Let me send it again. So, like, later on, I got these texts from Tinder that if I use this code to open an account with my phone number, that he would get points that he can use on Tinder. And I was like, what the F? And so I was thinking that this guy wanted to go out for tea that day. And the next thing I know, I was talking about Tinder, and I was looking up Tinder scams, and there was an old scam that it wasn't similar, but it was, people were getting hacked. That one was supposed to take care of. I didn't see many more, like, people being deviant. Because I was scared it was, like, some kind of phishing. And then, I go, oh, text. I got an important call to make. We'll talk to you later. And I never talked to him again. I never, like, I had to go to work later. I was probably, like, I was scared. And I go, that's rude. Like, this is a disposable, this is a hookup society. Why would you tell someone that is wanting to date somebody to help them get more activity on Tinder? Like, that just seems weird. But it is a disposable society. And for, this is so bad. So what do I do? Days, weeks, months, I don't know. It wasn't months. I decided to open a Tinder account. Now, why did I do that? I was afraid that this guy was going to take my pictures that I had on OkCupid and open a Tinder account with my phone number. Now, I didn't know. Sometimes, you know, you end up finding out. So I decided to go see if he made a catfish account using my picture. Because he would have been able to... I was scared that he would be able to have me send links to men. I guess that wouldn't have worked. For some reason, I was thinking that he would have his little code link. Like, he could have me pretend that he was me and say a dozen men. He could give this app link and then he'd get points by using me as a catfish. I was really scared that he was going to hack and use me as a catfish. So what do? I make a Tinder account. And I was able to use my phone number and say, okay, this guy, hopefully this guy did not make an account. So that's why I made a Tinder account, was just like that. And so I put up 2 really bad pictures, because I don't know, I was probably just sitting there in the dark, like, click, with the glasses on. I had, like, 1 picture, maybe 2, and I put those up. And this guy was, like, forget about the guy. This app, I didn't have any words, just those 1 or 2 pictures. And then so I started getting likes, and I was getting text, or I was getting some kind of communication through Tinder, from Tinder, about, you have all these likes, dude, you need to get on here because people are trying to chat you and stuff. And I was like, what? And so I kept trying to use Tinder a little bit. It was like, your Google needs to be updated. You can't use this app. So it was like error code, and the only way you could do anything was to click off the app. Like, you couldn't do anything. I don't even think, I was able to set up the account, so I couldn't change the picture, take down the pictures. I might have been able to. I didn't have a bio. So I ended up, it took me weeks, days or weeks, to take my phone and get rid of the extra stuff taken out my memory so that I could, they said to update all of Google. So I updated all of the Google stuff, and I needed a bunch of memory. And then when I did that, I was able to use Tinder, but I wasn't able to use, like, Google Maps is not working. This is that Samsung Galaxy S4. So the maps are not working. I have to use my iPad as my GPS now, and I'm like really freaking out about it because I have to use data for that. So I'm carrying it around with me, and so I'm just like right now I'm like getting these messages, and someone's like, "Wow, I don't know anything about you. Her bio is blank." I was like, "Oh yeah, I should probably work on that." So I just added a couple sentences, and then I had a bunch of likes. It said 99 plus, but I wasn't really liking people. And then one day I said, let's just like a lot of people. And then I found out that, oh, you only have so many that you can do in a day or whatever time period. So then there was a couple guys. It was around Thanksgiving and Christmas, and there was a guy from OkCupid. We were supposed to meet around Thanksgiving. He's like, yeah, I totally have days off. He kind of bailed on me. I don't know what happened. He kept saying, are you still single? Are you still single? And I'm just like, shh, I've been freaking single for 14 years. 14 and a half years. Like, duh. And then that guy never hung out. And I sense like he was a heavy drinker. And because that's all I talked about. And he had like that red nose. And I was like scared of being around alcohol. But I'm like, if they're normies and they have a job and they own a house and blah, 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 blah. Like I was sitting here for 4, 5, 6 months meeting one person. So again, judgmental. I just wanted to meet somebody and see what happened. And I said, God, I needed God to help coordinate some things. And I got really depressed with all these canceled or no-showed. Like, I didn't necessarily leave and go to the place and wait for somebody, but I'm sitting at home canceling my plans, like not going to my meeting. It's like, dude, you need to do your plan. People said, yeah, you do your plan, and you make plans to meet with this person, and if they no-show or they ghost, then you go to freaking Starbucks and you do something for yourself. And I haven't gotten that far yet, but it's often because I need to do work at home. So what happened was I got back on Tinder a little bit because people sounded more intellectual, and they were asking personal questions, like, about my interest, and it was to the point where there was some kind of intelligent conversation. I was like, wow, OkCupid sucks. Some guy was writing all this stuff, all misspelled, about, why are you on here? This place is dumbed down. And his stuff was all misspelled. And he's like, but I'm different than the other or something, alright? I'm just like, eh. Like, and I still talk to these people because I was just like, I don't know them in person. I don't want to judge somebody by their inability to spell, especially when they're probably using a cell phone. And I don't want to judge anybody. I thought that was rude. I was like, is there some site I'm supposed to be on because I have 17 years of college? Like, I don't give a crap. Like, I don't say I need to match up with someone who has my college education level. Like, I never said that. Like, if I wanted to and my education matched what I was supposed to be making, then maybe I go to some paid site for professionals. But I don't make anybody, and I found that I met more people when they don't know my profession and education level. Like, just straight out met people. A lot of people bailed on me when they found out I was a naturopath. I'm like, I don't care. Like, it's just my lifetime dream. That's like a hobby career according to IRS. So I'm basically a restaurant worker, a fast food pizza restaurant worker, and a demo lady at the grocery store. Like, that's basically my career right now. And my career is my career, but it doesn't bring in any money at all. So I ended up finding there was intelligent conversation. Got a new person at work that said, hey, better, huh? They're like, I've been having fun since I moved in town. I've been having a lot of dates. And I was just like, really? And I was like, okay. So it was around the holidays. People were like, I got stuff to do. I got shopping. I got blah, 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 blah. And then we had an inspection right before Christmas, I think. And like, boom, that sucked. So I was just like sick and crazy and freaking out. And I ended up, this one guy I didn't talk to, like hardly at all, but I'm busy at Christmas. Let's hook up, like, hook up. Let's meet up afterwards. Like, I'm down. And there was like no like talk about anything else. And so that guy, there's another guy on the east side that's like, when are you free? When are you free? And that's one of my pet peeves. I'm never free. I make time to meet up with someone. I have to take it out of my schedule. It's like take a day off work to go to a concert or something. I had to take it out of my schedule. When you volunteer at the hospital, you weren't allowed to do that, by the way. You weren't allowed to just say, oh my god, I have plans to go out of town, or my sick grandma's coming to town, or I'm going to a concert. People are seeing Elton John this week. They're like not allowed to miss their shift for that. It's an unexcused absence and you get in trouble. But that's rude. We're volunteers. That's so rude. They should let you do your 2-week advance. Maybe this guy didn't have 2-week advance notice. I hate that. You're a volunteer. You hear all the workers and you're up and down the hall talking about all their vacation, all the concerts, and all the holiday prep stuff they're doing, and all the special stuff for their kids they're missing work for. And you go into the office and all the time your supervisors are gone. And you're like, they're like not out sick, they're like gone, like on vacation and like taking personal days and stuff. And you're like, really? Someone can't, they have like a 6-month, I think, commitment, and you can't even have like, this is important to me, pick up grandma from the airport or go to a concert. Like, I don't know, that's like, you're a volunteer. It was so strict. It was way more strict than, because they're talking about the dress code too. And I'm like, half the employees are not following the dress code, which I thought was interesting. And they're like, had someone send me even extra stuff when I asked about the dress code. They sent me some extra thing because they said for us we didn't have to wear polo shirts. Did I ever get mine back? Oh my god, I don't know if I must have. Oh my god, I might still have that polo. I know I gave my ID back. I should go clean out the back of my car. Anyways, it's like, this guy didn't say anything, and then we met. And I had in the past a fear of rejection and a fear of being disliked and not liked, or being used and abused, just because of past history of real life rejection, dislike, and not being found attractive or not being found intelligent. And so I met this person a week ago, Friday, like not Friday, but the week before, and then he's like, okay, let's meet on Saturday, and then we're going to plan to meet on the next weekend. But we met at least once before that. So I was kind of like excited that somebody, like there's a lot of coincidences between us, but I'm like, this guy is really cute and mature, like, in some ways, but it's a dude, so whatever. Like, that is subjective, or subjective. And, which the Bible talks about being childlike. I forget where it says it. It's going to be like, oh yeah, childishness? No. Oh, heck no. But, like, dude, you behave more childish than I do. But it's biblically, like, having that kind of heart and spirit of a child is very invigorating. So I ended up hanging out, going to tea, going to a movie, going to the store, hanging out. And I said, what do I do about these other messages I'm getting? And the guy on the east side was like, let's meet at the mall in Jamba do something. I'm just like asking, like, he seemed like east side type. He wasn't like west side type, so I was like, yeah. He's like, do you need a ride? And I was like, oh heck no. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get a ride from this guy. And I'm thinking to myself, why can't he drag his butt over to my mall? Like, I'm busy. This guy had more than one job too, but so I was like, yeah, I'll go out with you. But this other guy, the Friday guy, was like, he said like a time and a day, or he said, oh, if I'm free Friday, I can do it. Then if not, a different day. Like, he kind of threw out a time frame, like a day and a time-ish time, and location based on what I like to eat or drink, tea. And so we hung out a few times, and I thought, I mentioned monogamy, and what did it mean if I'm my own person. If I felt like kind of being connected or friends, let's say friends with this dude, I didn't want to be friends with a bunch of other dudes and have a bunch of conversations and be like, I'm going to meet up and I'm not going to meet up, but blah, 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 blah. Treat others like I want to be treated. It's like, who knows? This guy could be dating, this friend could be dating different women every night, or they could be having sex with someone and say, get out of my house because my other date is coming over. Like, I don't know. I'm not his keeper. So I personally was trying to figure out, like, I'm like, fine. Like, I'm not going to ask you to be my boss and be like, don't talk to these men. I said, well, I'm going to not really respond to messages. And this person was just like, I'm not ready to be committed, and I'm not going to shut down my accounts. So I'm like, I'm about to start crying, and I think I was going to work that day. And I just said, well, FYI, I'm not going to talk to these guys, but I said hi to a couple guys here and there. Someone was sick, and I said, oh, I hope you're better. Like, just chill, talk. And then I was like, oh, God, that makes me a liar. But I'm blowing off the people that I want to meet. Like, there's a couple that wants to meet. There's another guy we were supposed to meet. And the other guy that he added a picture after I agreed to meet with him downtown. And he kind of bailed on me, but I ended up being sick that day, and I thought we were going to meet. He's like, I thought you had to work. It's like, who gives an F, dude? Like, I work freaking every day. And if I work nights and somebody else gets off at 4, I can meet some of those days between 4 and 7, or between 4 and 6, or between 4 and 5, or between 4 and 4:30. Who cares if you meet me out near my work? Like, just to meet to see if we click. So that was my idea, was just, like, experiment. So now I didn't cry. I wanted to go in my room and wash my face and cry and get ready for work. And I didn't cry until later. I don't know if it was that same night. Like, within 24 hours, I started crying again. Or crying finally over it, because I felt, like, so disposable and so, like, just cheap. Like, it's like if you were a prostitute, and if you were a prostitute, you knew you're a prostitute, and you might have some favorite Johns that keep calling you, but you know that this John could have you one day and have your buddy the next day and have some other chick down the street the next day. Like, it's like just trying to think, that's their job and their profession, and they might get emotionally attached, but they would think that it's not necessarily like Pretty Women, like, attached. But if you meet somebody and you both agree to monogamy, but then someone says some stuff that makes you think. So basically, for my step work, it was willingness. When I really got into a big recommitment to my program and to my higher power in 2016, that word willingness went a long way. I'm willing to clean my house, but it's trashed, and I'm sitting on my butt thinking about it and not doing anything or doing very little. But if I become willing, that's a step in the right direction. So I couldn't express, like, willingness, but again, I had to say to myself what made me feel comfortable. If somebody is, like, I'm not expecting someone to commit to me in less than a week. I'm not expecting that. What makes me sad is, like, not having willingness to say, let's see how it goes for the next few days, for the next 7 days, let's see how it goes. Like, you don't have to put a timeline, but, like, You just feel like was everybody with somebody for the time being, and when somebody you think's better comes along, then you go shift and move your energy, and you just leave that person behind. And so that's, again, talking about first year medical school orientation, facing my fears. That's the fear I'm facing right now, is just to be shoved aside. But my faith, not necessarily fate, but my faith is to go forward in life and to be true to myself and to my higher power, be led by the Holy Spirit and by Jesus. I have a hard time connecting with Jesus, not just God. I believe in the Trinity, so I believe that He's all the three, Holy Spirit, Jesus, and God. I had this image on my ex-husband when he had his long dreads and his blue jeans and his tall body and his brown hair. It's like similar to the Jesus in the movies. And I have this issue with using God's name as the Father as well, because of having a poor relationship with my own earthly relatives. And for faith, I did my favorite prayer, which I haven't been doing consciously or out loud. Please, God, open the right doors so I could walk through. Please close the wrong doors. I didn't ask for opportunity to come. I didn't really ask for provisions and for prosperity. I should have. And I wonder where my big book is, by the way. And I told a couple of friends, just partly because of safety, and I asked, what do I do? I haven't heard from this person in a day or two, and I kind of like it. Should I say hi? What's up? They're like, someone kept saying, you're on, grown woman, you know what you do, what you want to do. And this past day, I was like meditating for like 3 hours of meditation music yesterday morning. And I ended up like saying this morning, God, why is it that I don't have friends to talk about when I'm overwhelmed with dealing with something new or something uncomfortable or dealing with something that's like, I don't know how to say it. It's uncomfortable. I mentioned not wanting to control somebody, and I wasn't manipulative or narcissistic or selfish. It wasn't I want to control you, like I want to make you do what I want you to do. It was that I wished they would call me. I wished they would ask me out. I wish they had found me attractive. I wish that they wouldn't cheat on me. Like, that's like, I wanted my way. I wanted it my way. And it doesn't matter if it's like, it wasn't like I want this guy to buy me a $10,000 diamond necklace. It wasn't like that. It was just normal, like, I want this person not to be dating someone. I want this person to text me every day, just check in, and like, I can't, like, I can text them. I can't control whether it's a woman or a man. If I text my friend and she doesn't respond ever, and you're like, she hates me, I'm done with this friend, and then you see the friend, and then she's like, oh, I miss you. Why don't you respond to my text? I'm gonna get my Bible. Like, why don't you, like, I feel like you hate me. But everyone has a life. And, alright, so I was gonna read that one. I'm gonna do the Joyce Meyer. Joyce Meyer Bible, and then I think I'm gonna sell it, because I cannot. Well, there's a lot of paper in here. I feel like right now that I cannot. There's a whole. I must have been reading this more than I thought. There's so many pages marked, so much paper. Well, these are just schedules. I feel like I thought I wanted the Amplified Bible. That's a Joyce Meyer. It's really difficult for me to 2010 that I bought my dad a leather one. This was not leather. I can't control other people, and I can't control the fears that I have with dating, friendships, or relationships. The fear of being betrayed and people sneaking behind my back. Oh, I know she doesn't like me to, say, do this or flirt with people or go to the movies with these other friends because she's annoying and we don't want to hang out. Like, all the stuff that's happened in the past, I have to face it. And it's like, where's my faith? I have the faith of a mustard seed at least. So I'm going to read Proverbs 14, Joyce Meyer's Amplified Bible. And, wait, today's the 14th, right? So it might be a little bit long. I don't think I'm going to read the extra words that come from all of this. And there's something under here called Free from Bitterness. So I might actually come back and read it. But it's like, dear God, I want to read my Proverbs today and then sell this book. I need to empty my house. I talked about someone's feng shui, but my own feng shui is so out of whack. Even if I just clean the clutter, that will be, and clean the dishes, and that will be the bare minimum to help me to know that what's up here and what's around me is a reflection of each other. And it feels like a scrambled egg is purposely scrambled, but I don't need my brain to be scrambled. I need it to be whole and strong. And Lord, I ask for a miracle today. Everyone I know goes to counseling, or they take pills, or they figure out some group where they can. I mean, I do my own form of self-help with help of others. So it's not necessarily just self-help, but just trying to work with myself to be a better person. God, I feel so broken. Like, I feel like this drain of energy. Like it's like I need a week off to just. I have a nervous energy and my heart is beating. They said that if women fall in love, I fall in love easily, fast and hard. My friend used a term for herself, and I said, I think I'm like that. It was more interferon was developed when women fell in love, and I was like, they're like thinking it's because you're trying to get pregnant and your immune system's going to be crazy. My mind is like, oh God, you're at risk for freaking STDs and your immune system, because that's the treatment for Hep C, right? So God, I can't control. It's the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I can't change what happened to my marriage. I can't change what my parents did to me, but I have to change, like, again, Lisa A. Romano's vibrations so that I attract, if like attracts like, for that type of energy, not like opposite attract for marriage purposes, some people, but if like attracts like, then I need to have the law of attraction and the vibration of goodness. And people make fun of the use of the word victim, like you have victim mentality. People have PT freaking SD. Of course, some of us are in victim mentality. Do we want to be there? Oh, heck no. We don't want to use that to say, poor me, take care of me. We are suffering and we're hurting. And to use that term, not stereotypically, but to use the term of survivor, to use the term of, forging your way through life in a different state of mind, and having full gratitude that we have today, just today. I have this moment. The world could explode in 30 seconds. I have only this moment. So learning to live in the present, learning to tap into my higher power, and to not be afraid to use the word Father in heaven, to not be afraid to use the word Jesus, and to not be seen as feeling flaky when I feel like the Holy Spirit is the connection of my heart and my holistic body connected to my belief in a power greater than myself that I don't understand, and a God who has a son who's also him, that knows what it feels like to cry, who knows what it feels like to be around the humans of the world, who knows what it feels like to have a bad guy on your team who stole your money, who knows what it feels like when you cut, it hurts and you bleed. So to be able to send a sacrificial lamb of a son to not only die for my sins, but to have my higher power, who's all powerful and a creator, to know what it feels like to be human and to be beaten and spit upon and be told that you're blasphemy because you're Jesus, Son of God. Those people killed him because of that's a prophecy, but just beat somebody who's literally the Son of the Most High. And I believe that, and after church, the old church, I felt so strong that I felt so strongly in having the Bible talks about being equally yoked when you get remarried. I found so many people in 12-step meetings that I wondered if it was out of desperation to know that we all almost died because of our disease, that we were given a second chance or third chance or 9 lives based on the crap we went through, the near death, going to the emergency room, people having car wrecks, drinking and driving. There's a desperation with knowing that you need to sober up. And that higher power is your ticket. For me, and a lot of people, that's your ticket to living. Whether you're in jail or not, whether you're sick or not. And for me right now, it's like, so many people, like, the sixth sense, you sensed these people at AA who had a higher power that they made up. You sense this guy's spirituality so strong, and love and respect for humans. Even if I have a hard time meeting people in meetings, I have a hard time having women be my friends. And I had the same thing at church. I'm a black woman coming to a place 10 times, and people are like, are you new here? like I know, like, half the people in this room I know from other meetings, and I've been around for 15 freaking years. People look right through me. I'm black. People look right past me. If I know them, I'm waving, saying hi, they look right past me. They're so fearful of me as a black person. So fearful. Some men, they're like, chill. I talk to them. They talk to me again. But women, like, I ain't trying to be better than you. I'm just trying to iron sharpens iron. Get this program embedded into my vibration, but I get hurt. So I felt that with the people, but on a spiritual level, I felt safe. I would feel safer with these people in my house. I'd feel safer with these people driving my kids. The stuff that happened at church was obnoxiously more than hypocritical, just wrong. And they hide it under nice clothes, nice haircuts, and nice houses. I think I'm going to go to get gas right now and clean my house until it's time for my son to get up, which is going to be 5 hours. I have to do it quietly. So right now, I'm like, I felt that people had various religious, like the most people in my AA groups that say the F word the most are the ones that are Christians who go to church. And I'm not judging them on their language, but the ones that also say some weird stuff to young kids, that is not necessarily very law-abiding, or I don't know, that weirds me out. But there's so many people that it's not me to judge who your higher power. So I had abandoned, it's like, I didn't ever hate anyone gay, and everyone's an individual. I could hate someone because they freaking stole my car, and they may happen to be gay, but I wouldn't hate someone because of their demographic, but maybe their activity might bother me, or their actions. I don't know how to say this. I felt, I always loved gays, but being at church is like all of our gay friends and people in the meeting, people at the kids' school, they were the most well-behaved and most committed marriages than anybody in those whole churches. The most respectful citizens, prosperous, hardworking. These are individuals, of course, but it's almost like you went to church and you snuck that you love these people, just like Jesus would love them, just like Jesus would love everybody. Everybody, maybe some actions. It's like your own disciples are murderers. And it's like, I broke free from the church and my relatives became more abusive. And it was really scary. We left because I had been sexually assaulted by this guy who worked with children under 18. It was scary. Him and his wife both were, and I had got sexually assaulted at least twice from this man during church, in the back of the church, and it was inappropriate touching, and I quit his teams, and they blew up, and he spent the next 2 years trying to tell me we don't belong. I think that he said that because he was afraid that I would report his assault and that potentially go to jail. I think he just wanted to put power over me and get me and my kids out of that church, and probably spread lies after we left. So I did leave because of him, partly, and because nobody believed, they believed this guy over me, so it wasn't even worth bringing up. They basically told me that I was a liar about what he said for 2 years, and that I had the devil in me. And I'm like, you have this guy who works and drives kids around all alone, who's rubbing his freaking penis and his nuts all over my butt during church, and has my arms, he has his arms locked around me so I can't move while he's getting his, like, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if he freaking unzipped his pants during that. That scares me. And I was like, oh, heck no, I'm never going to make my kids go to any of the children's events with him. And it scared me. The first time it happened, I thought maybe it was an accident, but it happened 2 times the same way. And I quit the team. I tried to quit, and they wouldn't let me for a year, and I quit randomly one day, and they all but cussed me out, the church pastor, and told me what a loser, how uncommitted I was. And so, excuse me, I ended up When I was pregnant with my daughter, I decided not to hold an air lady like, because it was like, I feel like it was destroying my GI tract, holding in those toxins. I'm gonna read this, but I have this fear of men. I have this fear of, I'm black, it's my word against yours, or this and this and this and this. And I have this fear of, like, so many things. Like, I don't know how to say it. Like, um, but I want to face my fears so that I can think positive thoughts and use law of attraction instead of attracting negativity, attract positivity. So number 14, this is page 981 of the Old Testament, Proverbs 14, 1 through whatever, I'll tell you, 1 through 35. Every wise woman builds her house, but the foolish one tears it down with her own hands. He who walks in uprightness reverently and worshipfully fears the Lord, but he who is contrary and devious in his ways despises him. In the fool's own mouth is a rod to shame his pride, but the wise man's lips preserve them. Where no oxen are, the grain crib is empty, but much increase of crops comes by the strength of the oar. A faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness breathes out falsehoods. A scoffer seeks wisdom in vain, and wisdom is capital, so it sounds like a godly wisdom. For his very attitude blinds and deafens him to it, but knowledge is easy to him who, being teachable, understands. Go from the presence of a foolish and self-confident man, for you will not find knowledge on his lips. The wisdom, godly wisdom, which is comprehensive insight into the ways and purposes of God, of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly of self-confident fools is to deceive. There's a lot of this stuff in brackets. Fools make a mock of sin, and sin mocks of fools, who are, let's use that as a bracket. Who are victims, a sin offering made by them only mocks them, bringing them disappointment and disfavor. But among the upright there is the favor of God. Proverbs 23, it says, 10:23. 10. The heart knows its own bitterness, and no stranger shares its joy. The house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tent of the upright shall flourish. There is a way which seems right to a man and appears straight before him, but at the end of it is the way of death. Even in laughter the heart is sorrowful, and the end of mirth is heaviness and grief. The backslider in heart from God and from fearing God shall be filled with the fruit of his own ways, and a good man shall be satisfied with the fruit of his ways, with the holy thoughts and actions. This is why the Amplified I thought I needed to be complex, and then I realized I need to be more simple with my life. This is too much. Which his heart prompts, and in which way he delights, like a daggone frickin' tongue twister. The simpleton believes every word he hears, but the prudent man looks and considers well where he is going. A wise man suspects danger and cautiously avoids evil, but the fool bears himself insolently and is presumptuously confident. He who foams up quickly and flies into a passion deals foolishly, and a man of wicked plots and plans is hated. The simple acquire folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. The evil man bow before the good, but the wicked stand suppliantly, I need a dictionary, at the gates of the uncompromisingly righteous. 20. The poor is hated even by his own neighbor, but the rich has many friends. That's the same as my other Bible. That one at least is simple. 21. He who despises his neighbor sins against God, his fellow man, and himself, but happy, blessed, and fortunate is he who is kind and merciful to the poor. Do they not err who devise evil and wander away from the way of life? But loving kindness and mercy, loyalty and faithfulness shall be to those who devise good. In all labor there is profit, but idle talk leads only to poverty. The crown of the wise is their wealth of wisdom, but the foolishness of self-confident fools is nothing but folly. The truthful witness saves lives, but the deceitful witness speaks lies and endangers lives. Tongue twister. In the reverent and worshipful fear of the Lord, there is a strong confidence, and his children shall always have a place of refuge. Reverent and worshipful fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, and one may avoid the snares of death. In a multitude of people is the king's glory, but in a lack of people is the prince's ruin. He who is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who is hasty of spirit exposes and exalts his folly. Proverbs 16:32 and James 1:19. A calm and undisturbed mind and heart are the life and health of the body, but envy, jealousy, and wrath are like rottenness of the bones. He who opposes the poor reproaches, mocks, and insults his maker, but he who is kind and merciful to the needy, honors him. Proverbs 17:5, Matt 25:40, 45. The wicked is overthrown through his wrongdoing and calamity, but the consistently righteous has hope and confidence even in death. Wisdom rests silently on the mind and heart of him who has understanding, but that which is in the inward part of self-confident fools is made known. Uprightness and right standing with God, moral and spiritual rectitude in every area and relation elevate a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. The king's favor is toward a wise and discreet servant, but his wrath is against him who does shamefully. Matt 24:47 or 45 and 47. I think tomorrow or next time I will do my Good News Bible, which is my favorite version. The one that was on that Bible website was not the same as my one that I have that has the pictures and the little things. So for that I'm going to read it again to myself with the Good News Bible and go get gas. For the online dating, I don't know my fate and my faith and my hope and my trust and my belief. I don't personally know what's going to happen, but I like this fella, and I just have to know my heart and like what is going on, and I know myself, and some people say you're recovered addicts and that they didn't have cravings. A lot of people say this early on. Cunning, baffling, powerful. I think that my addiction, which I still believe is a disease, genetic, and we can all be susceptible to genetics. I still believe in Adam and Eve, so we're like basically related, more than basically, but we're all human. People can all get cancer, people all get diabetes type 2, people all get alcoholism, and it's like a human condition. I know that I can get addicted to different activities. I know I can get like almost slothful, very slothful, complain. I know that I can get addicted to people from what happened 2016 with Charlene and Nick. Just I loved hanging out with people, and my sponsor at the time, having weekly meetings was just so much fun. I loved it. It just turned kind of weird. I just was not feeling taken very seriously on wanting to make sure that we could connect via telephone, especially in urgent cases. And sometimes I go to Al-Anon. In 2016, I only went to a double winners meeting like once or twice, and everything I heard was just like talking to me. The first speaker even was just like, I was like, she goes, oh, I just met someone, I don't want to control them, blah, 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 blah. I was like, I was so thinking the exact same thing. And so let me use Al-Anon and AA in the same building. So people go with their spouses and stuff. So it'd be like one room. Some of those Al-Anons are 90 minutes. They go to Al-Anon and they go to AA. I always tend to choose the AA meeting. For some reason, if I have a choice, I choose the AA. So I would have to select an Al-Anon meeting. I'm going to ask one of my kids to go with me next time I go. I feel like it's the right thing to ask. because it's not just people that I know now and friends and people in recovery, and it's also growing up in an alcoholic family and having a mom which had food addiction, and she was on pills, and you could tell that there was addiction. There was a major addiction to a substance that she, in her mind, would justify that it was okay because it's not cigarettes or alcohol or drugs. So, liking the fellow will put me. It's subtle, but it's nowhere like in 2016 when I just cried frequently, like 20 hours a day, like maybe like 19 hours a day. I cried. This is more like, I guess I feel more faith-filled. I feel like when the guys that I liked came and went, or I liked somebody, or I didn't like someone and someone kept talking to me and I didn't respond and I felt rude, I feel like you don't know why your body is not liking this person on a spiritual plane. Not just, oh, you're on the app. There's a spiritual plane for me that comes out of even communicating with somebody. It's another human on this earth, only 10, 15 miles away from me. So I just have to be safe and be careful. I want to guard my emotions and my feelings, but I also want to allow myself to be open. And if someone were to hurt me or tell me don't talk to me again, I have to know that there's a God that loves me. I don't want a future trip, dude, but I have to know that there's a God that loves me. That spider's gone, by the way. I don't know where it is. And that something's happened for a reason. As God's way to protect you. And some things happen, and this is through my personal prayer meditation. Some things happen because you experience life and be connected to certain people. And some of this stuff, the leaders in the churches would be like, that's sleazy, you shouldn't do certain things. But then my higher power is pounding in my head, putting a Goodyear blimp with a flag behind it, or a sign behind it that says, this happened for a reason. You are in this situation because your higher power made this happen as an experience. And you can't future trip either way. You can't say, oh, I'm going to be with the same person for the rest of my life, or that they're going to dump me today and blow me off, or any plans that we have, like, block me. Like, you don't know one way or another. So I just have to stay neutral and be true to myself and get myself healthy. And if I have a fear of rejection, then I would sit and be a reject and a dud. And it will cripple you. You don't get anything done. You don't clean. You don't do your hair. You don't do your makeup. You just go in wearing dirty clothes. It's like I did the worthy. You are worthy. I might do that guided meditation again today. You are worthy. You are worthy to get a good job. You are worthy to get paid. You are worthy for a relationship. You are worthy for friends and help. And growing up, it's like everything was the opposite. So I know, like, that I didn't say this to God, but it's like, God, I know this about myself, and I want to be myself when I meet a mate, when I hang out with a date and a mate, potential mate. I feel like I'm um, I know from the two of my favorite online dating stories, the woman who just said, I'm going to be myself, I'm a single mom, my house isn't perfect, this is who I am, and the girl who dated the young guy from Europe, where she had a cougar relationship that didn't last. They felt it wouldn't last, but then they had a vacation where he made all the plans, and she just suited up and showed up. And those are my favorite stories. It's like, you could just be yourself and just breathe, just zen out. And I use items and tools and incense and Bibles and prayer and meditation and music to meditate and to zen out. I have to learn to just, I can be still. It says in a big book, pause when agitated, and there's a lot more to that sentence that's also important, but that's what everyone remembers, pause when agitated. So I know if people make fun of me for going to meetings or this, I miss my friend Bridget. I thought about her yesterday. I God bless her. I'm gonna go and pray for her. I'm gonna stop making it about me, guys. I just miss this lady so much, but I asked my higher power to guide me, because I told you subtly, I still feel like I did in 2016 when I made friends, and then you're uncertain, like, you're uncertain that this person really likes you, and that they're looking for the next best thing, but you have to just believe in a higher power, and all the relationships I had with men, when I wasn't sober, were horrible, and they were experiences, and some were long-term, years-long relationships, and part of that common ground was not being sober. Even with that guy Denny, I don't think we ever drank or did anything. I don't even think I smoked around him or anything. But there's the sex addiction thing. So even if it's not sex, even if it's just other types of intimacy, um, without commitment, and this is new for me. I'm gonna pray for my friend and get gas. Peace.